Back at the Mark of Wisdom podcast with not just a normal person, not just an ordinary person, but a person who is very important to me in my life. Number one, he's my mentor. Number one, he's my friend. And number two, he's my mentor. And he has changed my life twice. Once when I read his book, and two, when I got out of prison and he decided to help me write a book. I want to say thank you for Robert G. Allen for coming and for being here. And I want you to know that you've inspired me to take your principles and pass them on. So thank you.
Let's pass on some more principles today. Mark, my friend, love you, brother.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
I love you, and I look up to you like a father. So,
well, that makes me sound much older.
You don't have to be much older to have a fatherly influence.
That's right. Oh, there we go. So, I'll take that. All right. Well, so you read Nothing Down. Your mother gave it to you, right?
Yeah.
And she said, you need to read this book. Well, this book was written from my experience of graduating from college and couldn't find a job, and therefore I don't have a job, and I have only a little bit of money, and I go find a piece of real estate, and I buy it with little or no money down, and I didn't have any cash or credit or cash flow, or I didn't even have a job, and I didn't even, since I didn't know much about real estate, I didn't think you needed all that stuff, you know. I should, does anybody have a property they want to sell, where I can give them my $1,000 down, and then we can negotiate a payout of the rest of the equity? And so I negotiated. It was $6,000 in equity. I gave her $1,000, and then I was going to give her $1,500 in 3 months, and then another $1,500 in 3 months after that, until she got all her equity paid off. And I just negotiated that right off the top of my head. I didn't know anything about banks and assuming loans and all that stuff. I was really ignorant about the whole process, and I just stumbled into this deal. And back then we didn't call it flipping. I painted a few rooms. I cleaned out the garage. I did a little work, and while I was doing all that, my neighbor, who would have bought the property if they had been in town when the sign went up, because they wanted the property. It was right next door to them, and they were out of town, and I stepped in the middle of it and bought the property, and they came to me and said, waited till I fixed it all up, and they said, well, you turn your $1,000 into $6,000. Will you take that deal? And I immediately flipped it, not knowing what that meant. And then I took that and I went and bought a 7-unit building, and then a 12-unit building, another 12-unit building, and I was on my way. But what I'm trying to say is I stumbled my way into creative financing. So anybody who's watching here today, no matter where you are starting, just like with you were starting you're in college, you didn't have a job, you did creative financing, you pulled your parents in to help you a little bit, but eventually you just went off and started using creative financing, right? So that's what we do now. And now the economy's a little bit slower, so there's more opportunities for creative financing now than there have ever been in the last 20 years, really. Since 2008, this is the time. And it's not going to last for that much longer. You got a window. You got to take advantage of it.
So you have taught people over the years how to do things with very little or nothing.
Yes.
How real is it today? Can we still do it today?
Great question, because people will always find an excuse like, oh, that worked back in the 80s and then in the 90s, but that doesn't work today. Right now, today, within a 50-mile radius of where you are this very second, somebody owns a property they don't want, and they don't know what to do with it. And they are what I call a don't-wanter. They don't want it.
Yep.
Now, what percentage of that are there? People will list their property and put it on the MLS, they put it on Zillow or Redfin or whatever. Most of those properties, 95% of those properties are owned by people who want all cash. They're represented by realtors who will tell them never to carry financing. They're advised by people not to do any creative financing, but in the middle of all of those 100% of the properties that are available for sale in your city right now, there are 1 to 5% of them who don't want the property. Maybe they just inherited from their aunt, and they don't know what to do with it. And they say, and maybe it's free and clear. 40% of the properties in America are free and clear. That means that you might say to that aunt, would you like to have a stream of income coming in for the next 25 years? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it kind of will help you supplement your Social Security. Yeah, that sounds great. I don't want the property. If I could get a stream of income for XYZ dollars for XYZ months, yeah, I would do that. Therefore, she's the bank. She's the person who would carry the financing, and therefore it's seller financed. That's just one of 50 nothing down techniques, and it doesn't happen very often. You know, it's like 50 keys on the piano, and the realtors only push one key. They only know one way, which is all cash from a strong buyer who has strong credit, who has a good job. There's the right kind of seller or right kind of buyer. Then they just hit that note. But the other 49 keys are 49 other techniques for you to find a seller who has a problem and to solve that seller's problem without you having to put money into it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And therefore, this is just one of the hundreds of ways of doing it.
Is that person that takes the principles and does this, are they a special kind of person?
You mean a buyer?
The buyer.
The buyer.
Yeah. Somebody who reads your book or my book and then applies the principles. Are they a special person? Do they have to have supernatural skills? Do they have to have super negotiating skills? Or are they a regular person?
They're an ordinary person who just wants to be financially free, and you want real estate in your portfolio, and you want it now. And if you listen to the conventional wisdom, who controls conventional wisdom? The banks, financial institutions, and the real estate industry control almost all of the real estate industry, and they are all lying to you right now. They're telling you that you need to have lots of credit, lots of cash. They are lying to you. And if you listen to it, then you'll say, well, then what I need is to save up for a down payment. It will take me 5 years to save up the down payment that these liars are telling you that you need. And therefore, in that 5-year period of time, prices are going to go up, deals are going to be lost. You're going to get 5 years from now, the prices will be higher, and you'll have to have a bigger down payment.
Yes.
So I got to save for another 5 years. How stupid is that? Buy the property in the next 90 days by looking for the highly motivated seller. And the realtors will tell you there are not very many of those. And that's absolutely true. What percentage do you need? You need one property. One property in the next 90 days. And so you look like looking for gold and gravel. And you find the gold and you go, oh, good, that's mine. What can I say?
Wait. So now you've done this multiple times.
Yeah, multiple.
You've been put in a city, a strange city.
Well, people don't believe you can buy with nothing down. So that's why I did the challenge.
But you've done it more than once.
Yeah, send me to any city, take away my wallet.
You've done it here?
Yes, I have. I did.
Done it here in Miami?
When I was in my heyday, anybody who challenged me to go to a city, take away my wallet, give me a $100 bill, in 72 hours I'll buy an excellent piece of real estate using none of my own money. They flew me to Boston. I buy a property in one day. They fly me to Florida, fly me to Miami right here, and I get in the car, it's just outside Miami. I find a property, and one day I buy it. They send me to San Diego. I'm met by a television crew from a local television station. They thought they have a good story. They arrive in San Diego. They give me $100 bill. We go to a motel. They're paying for the motel. I'm not paying for it out of my $100. They say, we want to film you buying a property. So I'm got on the phone. I'm calling, as many sellers as I can. You don't have to be special. It's just kind of, hi, I'd like to buy a property with a little or no money down. Is that something you might even consider? And you don't have to be smart to say what I just said. Would that something you might even consider? Well, if they really are desperate to sell, yeah, they're going to consider that. You bet. So we finally find a property. They drive me out to from San Diego, a little city called Escondido, which is a half an hour away. I negotiate with the seller right there. They watch me negotiate. He sells me the property. His name is Campbell. I mean, I still remember Bob Campbell. I still remember that.
Wow.
And he sells me the property with nothing down. And I get back on the plane from that morning on television, negotiating live, back on the plane that night, fly back home. So when they sent me, the LA Times challenged me to go to any city, they selected San Francisco, which is the worst city to pick. Prices are higher, and there's a lot of demand. The worst city to pick. Fly me to San Francisco, take away my wallet. They give me $5 $20 bills, and you know what this is something I don't tell very often. I put the $5 $20 bills on the counter next to the LA Times reporter. I put the money there on the counter, and I take my wallet out and I give him my wallet, so I have no identification, and I walked away, and the money was sitting on the table. And if it had gotten stolen, I went to the store to buy a newspaper so I could look in there to find deals in the paper. And then I realized I don't have money to buy the newspaper. I said, what did I do with the money? I can't even find it. And if I track my way back to, there's the $5 $20 bill sitting on the counter. I thought, oh my gosh, I would have to buy the property with really nothing down, like zero down, right? Anyway, I find my first property in one day, and I said to him, you're a reporter. What's a better story? You've lost now. You've lost. The LA Times has lost. I bought a property in less than one day. You can write a story about that. Would it be a better story if we bought more than one? He says, well, the more you buy, the better the story it is. The more I lose, the more the LA Times loses. So we went for the next day and a half, and I bought 6 more. Bought 7 properties and gave him $20 back in change. Now, I just was using principles. Now, they always say to me, well, Robert, that's you. You're creative. In fact, you had money in the bank when you went to San Francisco. You knew you'd just go back home and you'd be a multimillionaire. So, but not me. I'm broke. I have nothing. I don't have a job. I'm not Robert Allen. So I said, well, send me to any unemployment line.
That's
Someone who's broke, out of work, and discouraged. In 2 days' time, I'll teach them what's up in here. This is the principles. And in 90 days, they'll be back on their feet with having made $5,000 in cash, never to set foot in an unemployment line again. And I did that just to take all the naysayers to say, well, Robert could do it, but an ordinary person, I don't want an ordinary person. I want somebody who can't even get a job, has no money, no cash, nothing. And therefore, I did that to just prove all these naysayers. So wherever you are, wherever you're watching this right now, wherever you live, the only thing we have to change in your mind is the fact that you can do it, that's possible. If you follow a few simple principles, it's not that hard. You have to find the deals. And then when you find them, you got to fund them, and you fund them with other people's money, and then you got to farm them. What does farm mean? That means, what am I going to do with this crop? Am I going to sell the crop immediately, get my cash, and go plant some more seeds? Or am I going to grow crops and have money, cash flow coming in from the property? Because a piece of real estate is a crop, and I can quickly flip it. I can make quick cash, or I can get cash flow. And so if you could understand what I just said, no matter where you are,
of course,
where you are, no matter what you do or how poor you think you are, I've had thousands and thousands of people come up to me, Robert, I bought my first property with nothing down. They're so proud of it. If you listen to the industry, the financial industry, the real estate industry, they're going to tell you you can't do it. I'm going to tell you, having had thousands of stories, and you're one of them, Mark. You're one of them. You did it. And in fact, coming out of prison, what I love about your story is that you came out with nothing. You had no cash, no credit, no cash flow. No assets.
Less than a stellar reputation.
Less than a stellar reputation. The worst credit rating that anybody can have.
Mm-hmm.
And what you did is, since you had the experience before, you knew what you were doing, you just, well, let's see, what can I do? But it took you a while for you to feel worthy enough to go back out in the world. How did you get over that?
I actually didn't realize I was getting over it. So when I was picked up from prison that night, Howard and Debbie came and picked me up with a rabbi, a man named Shimon, and I had no idea where I was going to live because I was homeless.
Oh, that's even better. That's a better story. He was homeless.
I had no idea. I had no idea where I was going to live. I had nowhere to go. I had the clothes on my back. I had my religious books in one bag, and I had my legal papers in another book. And when they packed me up and put me in the car, I didn't, I was, obviously you're in shock. You just don't even know how to react. Tati asked me what it was like the first night I slept outside of prison. I said I didn't sleep much. I was in shock.
Yeah.
Probably was in shock for a week or so till I, calmed down. And I didn't know where I was going. And I said to Debbie, I don't have anywhere to go. And she says, yes, you do. You're going to live with us, she said.
Yeah, that's what friends do.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And when we got there, it's probably a story I shouldn't tell on camera.
Yeah.
But they were nothing but just so gracious and kind, and it's almost as if I was one of their kids.
Yeah.
Or a family member. That's how I felt. I felt adopted. And they always involved me in everything in the family. And little by little, Howard gave me a job, but he one day asked me, he said, look, we got to go walk over here. So about a half a mile walk to his son, Yoni, who was married to Samantha, and they have 2 kids, and he owned a house off the Hudson Parkway. So they were in Riverdale on the river in New York, in the Bronx. Riverdale is in the Bronx. It's the Jewish section in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And the son, who was an immigration lawyer, and so we walked over to the house and went over, and we're walking around, and Howard said, what do you think? And I said, it's a nice 4-unit building. He said, what would you do? I said, I'd probably convert the 2 garages to a 5th apartment. He goes, oh, so your mind still works. I said, yeah, it's a natural thing. He said, well, Yoni, they added 2 units in the back, and they can't get a CO on them.
CO?
A certificate of occupancy.
Okay, all right.
And I said, well, let me look. The units were empty. I looked at the units, and I said, there's 2 means of egress. There's hardwire smoke detectors. I'm not sure why. And he said, can you fix this? I said, yeah. He said, well, tell me what it's going to be. I said, well, let me do a little research. So I went down into the town, and I walked into the local real estate office, and I gave them the address, and I said, could you pull me up the street card off of the MLS? They pulled me up the street card, and it showed it was a duplex. I said, okay. I said, who's the best zoning attorney in this town? He gave me his name. I said, who's the best architect in this town? He gave me his name. I called the architect first. He told me, don't use this guy, he's too expensive. He goes, I got a guy.
I got a guy. That's good.
It's right from Ocean 11. I know a guy, right?
I know a
guy. And 2 months later, I got him the CO on the 4.
Because you were just going back to what was natural to you.
And I was just doing it because they had saved my life.
Yeah.
They had brought me into their family.
Yeah.
And during that time, Howard asked me to help another one of his sons.
There we go.
Who built a building, and the skin was falling off it.
Yeah.
So went over, we looked at the general contractor's contract, we looked at the payment and performance bond, and I said, you're insured. He goes, what do you mean I'm insured? I said, you're insured. You have a payment and performance bond, and the skin's falling off. Okay, and you have 3 years on it.
Yeah.
I said, so you need to call in the bond and then have them put a skin on it. And he said, well, what kind of skin would you put on it? I said, I put a universal skin. Yeah. He's like, what would it be? I said, I use a Mitsubishi skin. He's like, how do you know this?
But you'd been...
I'm like, I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah, well, it still was 10 years earlier that you were doing it, so you were just 15 years earlier.
15.
So you're just using your own experience to kind of move yourself back into... When did you feel like you were back? When you were like, I'm now, even though I've got the worst credit rating,
I actually didn't have bad credit because I fixed my credit in prison.
Oh, that's right. You were teaching.
I fixed my credit.
Oh, that is amazing.
So, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I was able to actually take out a Capital One card when I was in prison and figure out how to pay it and build my credit up even higher. So,
well, anybody's watching here, you might be saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to dig myself out of this hole I'm in. And what we're trying to tell you is wherever you're starting, you start right now. Mm-hmm. From where you are, you can get wherever you want to go, unless you tell yourself you're not good enough or I can't do it.
Well, here's a question.
That's a lie.
Why do so many people, when they see that you make a comeback, they don't say it is knowledge, they say it's luck.
Luck.
There's no luck in this business. It's hard work. It's knowledge.
And systems. You just do systems. You figure out there are ways for anything.
Why does everybody say that, Bob?
I'll tell you my opinion, and my opinion is that little doubter in your head, and you kind of talk yourself out of it. That little critical voice tells you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not handsome enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not educated enough, you're not enough, and therefore if you believe that, therefore you're not enough, because whatever you say to yourself. And what we're trying to say is you're enough right now, no matter where we are. How can we tell it any other way? Mark is the poster child for proving that. You can start from anywhere. Even in prison, you can do it in prison. And that's the name of his book, The Keys to Your Cage. How do you open the cage? Well, you just have to make a decision to step out of the cage that you've been in. And I'm in a cage. We're all in a cage. Everybody, we are caged by our belief systems, by our thoughts, by our doubts, our fears. Those are the cages that we're in, and we just need to take the keys, open up the door from the inside, open it up, and walk out into life. And I have so many people who will have excuses. They all have excuses. I had a guy come to one of my seminars, and he had stutter, a terrible stutter. He's so stuttering, so he couldn't even talk to me. And he was sitting on the front row, and he was trying to tell me, I'm going to use the information that you're going to. And I thought, this guy will never do it. I feel so sorry for him. I felt sorry. And yes, you will. You'll be good. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I'm so sorry. This guy is never. And then about 90 days later, I come back to the same city. It was Oakland, California. He's sitting on the front row again, and hello, Mr. Allen. And he says, I bought 4 properties since the last time I was here. And I said, well, how did you do that? Well, I just did it, And from that point forward, throughout my career, I never assumed anything about anybody, about whether it's possible or not. I've had anybody with any kind of disability you can imagine come to some of my seminars. And I just teach them, just do this, follow through, regardless of where you're at. And you can find a way. You can find a way. It might be slim. The odds are really slim. But you will find a way. Just like when they took me to San Francisco, I found a way.
Seven properties.
7 properties in 57 hours. I was so tired after that, I went to the hotel room and slept for an entire day. I was just exhausted. because
Do you think it's harder today or easier because of technology than it was back then when we used to use a newspaper?
it's so much easier because you can go to PropStream or whatever online source you go to. You can literally find
PropStream?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
You can find a property sitting in your bedroom using PropStream or whatever. There's Real Flow, Real eFlow is another one. There's a bunch of them. And you can go online and find a property in another state. And it's owned by somebody who doesn't want it. And you negotiate it, tie it up, and flip it from your bedroom. The paperwork can all be done online. DocuSign, all of that.
All done online.
All done from your bedroom. And could we do that back in the 80s when I got started? No way. There was no internet, And so the answer is, yeah, you can do it. Absolutely. Just get out of your cage.
You asked me what was the pivotal moment.
For you.
The pivotal moment was coming back from Temple, and we were walking home, and Howard said to me after Shabbat, "Tell me what you need to start over." And he said, "Just put it on a piece of paper. Tell me what you need to start over." And that made me think, okay, I've got to call some of my old contacts and see what kind of deals they have. And I called a gentleman named Tom Wilkinson, and he had a deal for me. That deal I contracted, and I raised the money, and they got a little scared because it was a pretty big equity check to them. And they said, "Can we cancel the deal?" I said, "Yeah, we're still in the due diligence period." And that deal got sold for $8.7 million more than I had it under contract.
Oh, my God.
So I went back and I called another friend of mine. His name was Reed Bennett, and he had these deals in Lubbock. And they were totally screwed up deals and had just had a terrible insurance loss, a hail loss. And Lubbock is the hail capital of the world or the country. And that deal was easier, less required, and I did that deal.
So for our listeners, what you're understanding here is that he had contacts that he went to his network. He went to people he knew, and you might say, "Well, I don't know anybody. I don't know a billionaire. I don't know these people." But you know 100 people. You know 100 people.
Yeah.
Everybody knows 100 people, but those 100 people know 100 people. That means that's 10,000 people. And those 10,000 people know 100 people. That means within whoever you are, regardless of where you were raised or what kind of issues you have, you are sitting in the middle of 1 million people all around you. One of those people has a piece of real estate that they don't want right now, right from your telephone in your apartment right now. And you say, "Well, how do I do that?" Well, you just do what Mark did. He went back to his network, and a lot of them knew he had been in prison, and some of them didn't want to deal with him. And a few of them go, "Mark was good to me. He's my friend. Yeah, let's see if I can help him." So you use your network, and everybody has one. All of us have them, regardless of where you are. Somewhere in that million, there's somebody who has a problem they need. Just like his first deal was somebody had a problem with a property, and he said, "I'll help you solve it." And therefore, that kind of got him started again. Everyone you're in the middle of a fortune. We all are, and we just don't realize it because we look at our eyes, look at everything through our old eyes, and we don't see these opportunities that are all around us.
Some of the greatest setbacks are your greatest opportunities. People don't really realize that when you're pushed backwards, it will propel you to a much higher level.
If you believe that, but most people don't. They look at their setbacks, they look at the bankruptcies, they look at the divorces, they look at their bad health, and they look back on their past and they go, how terrible, how horrible. My life hasn't been very good, but every one of those is an opportunity to learn the lesson from it, and every one of them is a gold mine of opportunity, gold mine of wisdom. Talk about, mark of wisdom. Well, you have a gold mine of massive failure in your life. How did you mine that so that it becomes a minefield of gold for you? And most people wouldn't want what you went through. But how do you see it as a positive and not a negative?
I see everything as a positive.
I see that.
I see everything as a positive. Everything is a lesson. Everything is an opportunity. And if you look at everything in the negative sense, then you're going to go through life thinking, why me? Woe is me.
Yeah, why me? Mm.
I don't want to think like that. I was raised to get back up and just continue to try again, over and over and over again. And if you keep on that with that mentality, if you keep that focus, you're never going to fail.
People love a comeback story, and you are the comeback story of all time. You are.
I don't think I'm a comeback story of all time, but I am a comeback story.
You are.
And we're still coming back.
Absolutely, and me too. I've had the same kind of issues you, not legal issues, but yeah, I had a bankruptcy in my life, and caused by an avalanche that I didn't cause the avalanche. The avalanche destroyed my beautiful, magnificent home, but it was not insured. It was insured, but the insurance wouldn't pay. So the bank made me pay $1.7 million back, and it bankrupted me, literally. Today, I look back at that experience. It humbled me. It drove me to my knees. It made me think that you got to be careful. You got to be more careful about everything, really. And that's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I look at that experience as the depth of wisdom that came out of that for me personally. So life is like that for every one of us. And even people watching here today, you're going to have, not only if you've had past situations, the life is not over yet. You're going to have some more. How will you handle it? You have to handle it like, what can I learn from this? Mm-hmm. And what I learned was humility. It was hard. It took me 5 really long years to dig out of that hole that avalanche put me into. Even today, I still have issues from it. But the point is, life is good, and life is positive.
You said you learned humility. And one of the things that I had to relearn was empathy when I was in prison. What people don't really realize is that our life is constantly, we're a student of everything. And when we think we know it all, we think we just had it figured out, that's when life is going to blindside you. And when I went to prison, I thought I had it all.
Well, you did have it all. You had thousands and thousands of apartment units. You're wealthy beyond anybody's imagination, and it all got taken away. And you had to start again from scratch. So you learned empathy.
I truly got to see men in a much different light. And when you're in such close confinement and you see people, it's like you're living in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
And you realize that wow, you have had a blessed life.
Yeah.
And not everybody has had a blessed life. And it makes you really be grateful for even the littlest things. The littlest things.
Well, the coffee story I remember you talking about.
There's just so many things that I started to notice. And I started to notice that God was in everything. And I felt this connection all the time. I would see these little things that would just pop up, and I would say, well, that comes from God, or this comes from God, and that. And I think today's society, we're so busy, we're moving so fast, we're doing so many things, and everything is so disposable, and it's the phone, and it's this, and it's the car that drives itself. I think we forgot just to enjoy something so simple.
Yeah.
You know, just a good conversation, a friend, someone that's genuine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some ice cream.
I had some ice cream last night. It was good.
Some ice cream. I didn't have any ice cream last night.
Let's take a deep breath of how good life is. And some people don't believe it is because they've had some challenges. And if you look back on your life and you don't like what you see,
Change it.
it's because you haven't learned from it yet. You have to learn to laugh at it. I have to learn to laugh at that avalanche that destroyed my life, that took us out of our beautiful life, and I had to move to California into a rented home and start all over again with nothing. I have to laugh about that, because the faster you laugh at it, the more you learn, the quicker you learn from it. You have to learn to laugh faster, and therefore you'll see us smiling and talking about our bankruptcies and our and our prison term, and we kind of smile about it because we learned from it. And we learned there's good in there. There's gold in there. As the old joke goes, there's got to be a pony in there somewhere, right? That old joke.
But nobody got hurt in the avalanche.
Yeah, no. But my wife, the miracle that happens, the reason that we judge things as bad, why was that a bad thing? That avalanche, was it bad? Well, it cost me $10 million, yeah, and it wiped out all my entire wealth. And so when it happened, I'm thinking, oh, woe is me, how poor is me, I was so rich and now I've got nothing left. I have to move out of our city and move to another place, and I want to get out of town so my creditors can't find me and that kind of thing. And then 11 months later, a friend of mine, I'm on a board of directors at Brigham Young University, what do they call it? The alumni board. And I'm on the alumni board with a gentleman. He comes to me and he goes, "Did my wife tell you what happened that day?" I said, No, tell me what happened. Well, my wife was up at the ski resort, the Sundance ski resort, Robert Redford's resort, and the family was having fun, and it starts to snow, and it's a terrible storm. And so, well, we better go home, boys. And so she throws them in the Suburban, and they start heading down the road. And the walls of snow are piled high, like 8-10 feet of wall. And there's a little narrow path where the car can come down through. And my wife is coming up at that exact moment when his wife is coming down in the Suburban. And just before she hits my wife's car, she jackknives into the bank so that she's stuck in front of my wife. And of course, both of them think it's horrible. How terrible. We're heading home. We were trying to get out of the storm. My wife wants to get up to the cabin because she's going up there to have a party the next day for the governor of Utah.
Wow.
And so she wants to get everything right, and the ladies, and it takes 2 hours for them to dig her out. And my wife shows up at the cabin about 10 minutes after the avalanche destroyed my home. Now, if she hadn't been stuck there for 2 hours, she would have been killed. And so as soon as I heard the story, it entirely shifted for me. Instead of thinking of the avalanche as the most horrible thing that could have happened, I think, thank God, it was a miracle. Thank you so much. You could take all my money because my son is alive and my wife is alive and we have a family. We're living in a rented house, but what do I want? $10 million and no wife and no son, my oldest son, or nothing but them? And the answer is, thank you, God. And so if you look at your past in the back, and at the things that have happened in your past, and you haven't learned from them yet, it's because you haven't discovered the miracle that was in it. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you discover the miracle in it, you might even know what the miracle is. As I had to learn 11 months later what my miracle was, you might not even know what the miracle is yet. But you have to look at it. It was horrible, terrible, rotten. I get it. But there was a miracle in there. And once you finally find it, then you go, wow, life is a miracle. Everything that happens in your life is a miracle. But if you judge it as horrible, terrible, rotten, awful, then you just haven't discovered the miracle yet.
Wow. I really, really like that. Really, because I can think of all the things that might have happened, all the craziness prior to, if I was out, if I wasn't in prison.
Yeah, incarcerated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many disasters in our lives.
You just never know that.
Yeah.
You never know that. So you teach people.
Yeah.
And you've been teaching people. And you're teaching me. Do you ever stop teaching?
Do you ever stop learning? You know?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, you don't. You don't stop learning. And therefore, some of us like to teach. It's our gift. It's what we do. And so that's why when you invited me to come here to share this time with you, I'm honored to do that, because I know that somebody watching this right now is listening to what you and I are saying, and they're going, he's talking to me. And why did you get here at this very moment? Well, you're scanning through your social media, and something caused you to stop. And you say, this is probably what I need to know, what I need to learn. And you stopped, and you've been watching this, haven't you? And you're going, what do I need to learn from what these gentlemen are teaching me? How can I apply it to my life? How can I overcome all the issues that I used to think were horrible, terrible, rotten, awful? How can I find the miracle in the breath you're breathing right now? Take a deep breath of the miracle of one breath. Oh, and it takes the oxygen into your lungs, and the blood gets distributed throughout the red blood cells. It takes oxygen to all the cells of your body. Just the breath is a miracle. Just one breath. And yet one day, living one day on this planet, one day you'll go, if I could just have one more day. And now we just throw our days away like they're nothing. Well, you got about 30, 40,000 days in your life if you live to 80, 90. Every single one of those days is an absolute miracle. And one day you'll look back and you say, just give me one more of those. Just give me one more. Even if I'm in prison, just give me one more to breathe a little bit more and to thank God for everything that happens. Right? That's the lesson I think we need to share with them.
I think that's a great lesson, but I'd actually like to invite you to go get in the car and go look at some of the deals.
Let's go look at some real estate.
Some of the students have done. Would you like to do that?
I'd love to do that. Absolutely. Because every day when you drive on the freeway, you're going to drive by through deals all around you. Yeah. Driving by them every single day. You don't even notice them because you haven't been taught how to notice, right? And you're going to show me how you notice. You're an expert in the multifamily space. I'm not that. I've owned apartment buildings, but you're going to show me as we drive by. That's
the anomalies.
This is how I see things you can't see. Yeah.
Well, I think you see them, so I'm not going to say that.
I had a friend of mine who's in the commercial space, and he likes to develop properties. And he said,
you told me about him.
Yeah, just one day, Kevin, we're driving around, and he goes, I said, Kevin, tell me what you see. And we drive by this older, smaller, commercial space, and he goes, that space right there, I could turn it into 4 little buildings, 4 little restaurants, 4 little places. I've got the money. I've got a team that would develop it. I got the money to be able to buy it. I could turn that into a cash cow. And of course, I just saw it as a building. I didn't even notice what he could see. And so everywhere he goes, he just sees opportunity everywhere. It's all around him. And it took him 20 years to discover that ability to see. And you guys are driving by properties every single day, and it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know what you're looking for yet. And Mark will teach you how you see what he sees. Right?
We're going to create the AI Mark brain.
Oh.
What do you think of that?
Oh, the AI Mark brain. That's good. I like it.
So we're going to continue this. We're going to get on the road, and we're going to go look at a few properties.
Cool. Let's go.